What you guys, got another video here for you on how to set up a network attached storage, NAS for short, in 2025. The other day I reviewed this product right here and people wanted to know how we can install NAS software onto here to make it a full-blown NAS system rather than a dual boot mini PC. And that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. We're going to be using Open Media Vault, but you can use whatever software you like. And what we're going to be doing is flashing the 65GB flash storage, which is built into the actual device. You can see here, this version is 12 by 64 by 1 terabyte. That means it's 12 gigabytes in memory and also 64 gigabytes of internal storage. They do also offer this 1 terabyte drive in here, which also probably holds Windows on it or something like that. But we're going to be using all these 4 bays as storage. But we're going to be ditching the Ubuntu and Windows 11 dual boot system on here, and we're going to be flashing or actually writing over the 64 gigabyte flash storage on here and put in our software on here for our NAS. So I'm only going to populate 3 of these here. You can populate 4 of these. But again, I'm going to go ahead and put Open Media Vault on the 64 gigabyte flash storage, which is in the device. Again, you can use unraid or proxmox or any type of software like truenas, whatever it is you want to use. I'm using Open Media Vault for this video, but I'll show you step by step. You're going to need a flash drive, and you're also going to need to download the Open Media Vault software. So let's go ahead and go to their page and download the software. So this software is going to turn our dual boot system that we have on there right now into a full-fledged NAS, which is a network attached storage. So we can use this to store all of our media, or use it as a Plex server, or whatever it is you want to set yours up as. You can use it for that. You're going to also need Balena Etcher, and you can download this software and install it on the system, and we can create our bootable media with this particular type of software. So let's go ahead and get the ISO that we've just downloaded. We've selected that. Now we've got our USB flash drive plugged in, and we also now to hit the flash button. Now, the good thing about this particular type of device, you can get it for as little as £167, which means this is ideal for people that are on a budget that want to use this as a network attached storage. So let's boot into the BIOS. We need to tap the delete key on the keyboard, and we're going to change the first boot option here from disk Ubuntu to our USB flash drive. So let's go ahead and do that right here. Then we can go to save and exit, and then boot to that USB flash drive for the first time. And this will start to load up Open Media Vault, as you can see here. From here, we're going to be clicking on install. This will start the installation process of Open Media Vault. Now you can choose your language. I'm going to go ahead and choose English, and then I'm going to choose United Kingdom because that's where I live. And you can choose wherever you live in the world. Next, I'm going to go for British English because that's what we speak here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one right there, and it will start to load up. It might seem like it's not doing anything, but don't worry, this is working in the background. It will suddenly start activating on the screen like this, and there you go. And you can now see it doing its thing. It's retrieving all the information that it needs from the USB flash drive to start the installation process. So let it go off and start to search your device, and what it's looking for is a network card. So let it go ahead and do its scan, and there you go, it's found a link for our network card. So I'm going to choose what version I've got here, which is this second one right here, and push enter. Next, it's going to go off and do some more detection work on your system. So let it go off and do that, and what it's going to do is it's trying to configure the network, and it says DHCP. So let's go ahead and let it do that. And you can see it says successful. Now you can choose your host name. I'm going to leave this as Open Media Vault, but you can change this to whatever you like here. This is your host name to make it recognizable on the network. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that as Open Media Vault. We're going to leave this as local. That's perfectly fine. And I'm going to go ahead and click on continue and let that move on to the next stage. All this can be changed by yourself. Just read the on-screen display and make changes necessary that you want to make. So from here, what we're going to do here is put in a root password. This is the root password for that device. So let's go ahead and put a nice strong password in for our root password. Once you've got that typed out, you can push continue, And now what it's going to do is ask you to verify that password by typing in your root password once more. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here. I've made quite a complex password here, so it's going to take a bit of time to put it out because I'm using special characters and things like that, as you should do too. And what it's going to do now is start scanning the system for drives. And you can see it's got partition disks. It's found multiple different disks on the drive. So we need to make sure that we configure this correctly. And we're going to be installing this onto the correct drive. So we're going to push continue here. And what it's going to do is allow us to choose the drive that we want to install our OpenMediaVault software onto. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's starting up the partition, and you can see it's got 5 options right here. So these are the options that we have available to us. So just read what's here. You can see that this one is our USB flash drive. So we're not going to be installing our operating system on that. This is our internal storage, which is to do with our 65 gigabyte or 62.5 gigabyte MMC SD card storage that's built into the device. Then we have our free 1 terabyte drives here. These can be 8 terabyte, 4 terabyte, whatever it is. We've got 3 of those. So we're going to choose this option right here, which is the internal flash storage, which we're going to be using to install our operating system onto. So let's go ahead and do that. And what is going to happen is going to start partitioning and formatting this drive. So let it do its thing, and then it's going to start installing the system onto that drive that we selected. So that will be the end of Ubuntu. Ubuntu now will be erased, and we're now putting OpenMediaVault on there. So let me speed this process up so we can move on to the next part of the installation. And that's going to be to configure the package manager. So let's go ahead. I'm going to choose United Kingdom here because that's where I live and it's closest to where I want to use for the mirror. Now we can use one of these options right here. I'm just going to go with the top one, which is the debian.org website here, but you can choose one that's near the UK if you wanted to. It really doesn't matter. Choose which one you want to use and go ahead, and now we can configure our package manager. So I don't need a HTTP proxy, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank and push continue, and we can move on to the next phase. So I should speed this process up and we should reach the finish of the installation. So there we go. All we need to do now is choose continue to reboot the system. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it's saying remove any sort of drives that you have that were bootable, which is, for instance, that USB flash drive. So once this starts to reboot, I'm going to pull the USB flash drive out and we're going to go back into the BIOS. And what we're going to do is change that first boot order from our USB flash drive back to our drive that we've just installed OpenMediaVault on. So let's go back to the boot section. You can see it says USB device. Now we need to choose the hard disk Debian here. This is our OpenMediaVault that we've just created. So I'm going to now save this option and this should boot into OpenMediaVault for the very first time. So let's go ahead and do that right here. And you should see it pop up on the screen like this. Just push enter and it should start to load. And what we're going to do here is we'll get to the login screen and we're going to go ahead and do some updates for our OpenMediaVault and our server. So let's go ahead and do that right here. So I'm going to let this load up and there we go. It's now given us the IP address right there that we need. And of course, what we need to do here now is I'm going to log in to root here and basically do some updates. So let me go ahead and do that. And all I need to do here is type out root and the password that we set up. So I'm going to go ahead and type out root here, push enter, and then put in our OpenMediaVault password that we had set up here. So let's go ahead and do that. And once that logs in, we will then be able to run some updates. So from here, I'm just going to basically run an update here. So I'm going to go ahead and do sudo apt update and then sudo apt upgrade. Pretty much that simple. You just need to update all of this so we've got a fully updated system. So let's go ahead and do that right here. And I'm pretty sure you've seen this a million times before because this is the first thing that you normally do when you first set it up. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to do sudo apt update. And then we'll follow this off with a sudo apt upgrade as well. So we're going to let that finish off. And now down the bottom right here, We're going to go ahead and do that. It says there is a upgradable version, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right here. It would help if I spelled that right, so let's go ahead and do that again. There we go. And basically sudo apt upgrade, and then push enter. And this will then say, you sure you want to continue? Yes, we do. And we're going to let that upgrade the system. So be patient and let it do its thing. Now we can log into our server. So I'm going to go over to our browser on our computer and type in the IP address, which is 192 in my case, .168.1.215. Press enter and you should now see Open Media Vault, and we're going to sign in for the first time. So from here, you need to use the default username and password for Open Media Vault, and you can change this immediately, which you should do, because obviously this is the same for everyone that logs in for the very first time. So go ahead and type in admin and Open Media Vault as your password, and you can log in right here. And what you need to do here is you need to do some system updates and also change the actual password on that system. So if you go inside here and you're looking inside here for updates, what you can do is we can go to System, Update Manager, and click Updates, and this will then scan the system for any updates that might be available, and we can then download these updates and install them. I've already gone ahead and done all the updates on this particular device, but make sure you update the system fully. Now, once you've done all your updates, you're going to need to reboot your server. So let's go up to the top right hand side here, click the power button and click reboot, confirm this and say yes to restart the server. What will happen is you'll see a red bar come along the top. Don't worry, it's just rebooting. And once that repopulates with the login screen, you can then log in with your username and password, which is the default one. And then you can go ahead and change that to whatever you like. You can do that before you restart it if you want to. That's entirely up to you. But you can see here, you will see system failure. Don't worry, just keep refreshing. And now you can log back in with your default username and password, which was already set up for you at the beginning. So let's go ahead and log back in. And from here, once you're inside here, if you want to close this off, this part here to saying welcome to Open Media Vault, close it off, click the settings, and now you can enable the widgets that you want to enable. So for instance, if you want the CPU on there, you can do CPU utilization, disk temperatures, whatever it is you want to have loading up on your dashboard will be entirely up to you. So I'm just going to select a few here just to show you basically what this looks like once you get all of this check marked. But you can choose whatever you like. It says it right there, network interfaces, you've got the system time, updates available and uptime, all that sort of stuff. Click save and it will populate on the front dashboard. You can have as much or little as you like. Let's quickly go ahead and change the password by clicking on the account icon and click on change password here. And you want to change this. So let's go ahead and click on this one. This one open up another window, and now you can put in what password you want to use. For instance, you could use a tougher password here, because remember, this is to gain access to your server. So you want to make sure that you put a strong password in here. So let's go ahead and do that right here. And then we'll click save. And then we can configure these pending changes here. So let's go ahead and do that. Click save. And there'll be a yellow bar right there. And this will be for all your updates and everything else that you've done. Click apply and click yes. And then it's going to make those changes. So now, once this is done, you've now changed your password for your account. Okay, so back on the dashboard here, what we're going to do is we're going to make some changes and configure the drives and add a user account on here as well. So let's go to the tabs on the left hand side here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to storage here. So inside storage, go to disks, and these are your disks located right here. So these are the ones we're going to be using for our storage on this device. So I've only got 3 1 terabyte drives here. You may have different size drives here. The other drive is our operating system, which is Open Media Vault. Now we're going to need a file system set up here. So let's go to File Systems, and we can now go to the plus sign, and there's going to be some options. So let's have a look at BTRFS. This one stands for B-Tree File System. So let's go and have a look at that. This is going to allow you to set up RAID. So let's go ahead and just choose RAID 1 here just for this option. and we'll choose our devices. There's going to be 2 here that we can use, and these would be large drives. This is great for large drives. These are only 1 terabyte, but if you had larger drives, you could set up a RAID system right here, click save, and that will create that system. Let's go back to the plus sign here, and you've got ext4 or you've got XFS. Let's have a quick look at ext4. Choose your device, and again you would choose what device you want to use, and it will then go ahead and set that up. Just like so, you would select, say, this one and click save, and it will then configure that for ext4. And if you wanted to set up the XFS, which I'm going to go ahead and do right here for this video, XFS, and we're going to select our drive. Let's go ahead and do that right here. And now we're going to click on save, and this will start to configure our system for XFS file system. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm not going to go through all of the options, but basically go over to Open Media Vault's website and you can read all about what the BTRFS and ZFS and all of these ext4 mean and what's the best option for you to choose. I'm just showing you some of the options available in this video. That is a complete video on its own going through all of those options. So I'm going to let that do its thing and create what I need it to create. I've only got small 1 terabyte drives in here, and again, this is not going to be a system that's going to be up for a long time because I will just completely erase it and use something else on this particular device. So let's go ahead and let that finish off, and it should say end of line here. That means that has completed. We can now close this, and you can now see we can select our file system. Make sure you select the file system that you've just created. In this case, it's this one right here, which is the XFS file system that we just created for our NAS. So now click save, and once you click save, that yellow box is going to pop up and say pending configuration changes. So click apply and say yes here, and it will go off and start to apply those changes. Now you can see right here, just through the grayed out screen there, we've got the referenced. That is blank right now, and that's because we haven't set it up completely yet. We need to set up a user account as well, and also have shared folders on this drive as well. So let's go ahead and go down to shared folders, and we're going to go ahead and click on the plus, give the shared folder a name. So let's go ahead and call this, say, for instance, storage. You can call it whatever you like on your setup. So you can now see, let me just change that front S there to a large S. That's right. Okay, so now we've got this done right here, and you can see it's for administrator read and write privileges right here. Let's go ahead and choose the drive that we want to put that onto, which is our file system right there. So now we need to click on save, and of course that box is going to pop up saying pending configuration changes. Click on the check mark and say yes, and now that's done. Now we need to set up our service for it, so let's go ahead and quickly do that right here. Go down to services and go to SMB and CIFS, and we're going to enable this feature, and that's now done. You can leave it as work group, that's fine, and come down to the very bottom here, and we're going to click on save and apply that change. There we go, and that will take a bit of time, and once that's done we can move on to the next step of setting it up. So there's plenty of options available inside here that you can go through at a later date, but this is just getting you up and running so you can gain access to your shares on your Windows PCs. So let's go ahead and do shares here. So let's go up to the top here and click on the plus sign. So you can see we're in here. Click on the plus, and from here select the shared folder that we want to use. So let's go ahead and use the drop down right here, and we're going to choose our storage option that we just created earlier on. Now click on save, and you'll get that pending box popping up one more time, and click the check mark and click yes. That's now done, and once we've got that done, we can move on to the next step, which is creating a user for our shares. So let's go ahead and do that in a second once we've finished this off. So now we can check this to make sure everything is working okay. So let's go ahead and check this off to make sure it's all gone through properly. And from here, what we're going to do here is we're going to go to storage, and from here we're going to go to our shared folders, and you can now see that we have our name storage, our device, our storage relative path, and also our absolute path, and our reference has now got a check mark in it. So that means everything is working as it should be. So what we can do is move on to users now, and we need to create a user. So let's go ahead and click on users, click on the plus sign right here, and create a new user by clicking create, and give that user a name. So let's go ahead and just put Britec in here. And you're going to need to obviously give that a password. So let's quickly do the password. I'll speed this process up right here. So we don't want to use the same password as the other account. So let's go ahead and put that in. Now we've got the groups option here. Let's select the groups. When you open this up, you want to put this in the users group. So look for users and select users down here in the list. And once you've got that selected, you're pretty much good to save this and confirm the configuration. So users should be down here somewhere. There it is right there. Select users. And then you can click on your pending right here. So inside your account right here, let's just quickly click apply pending changes. Now, once this is done, you'll be able to sign in with that account, and you can give that account privileges and permissions and whatever it is you want to change on there. If you want to just have it read only, you can do. If you want to give them full access for read and write access, you can do. Pretty simple. But from here, you would see the normal screen as you would go for the IP address right here. And you would obviously be using your account that you've just created for that person. So Britec and password here. And once you put the password in and push login, it's going to allow you to log in because you've just created an account for that person. So let me quickly go ahead and do this right here. So many passwords to remember because I've just been setting up loads. So let's go ahead and try this one. I think this is the one I used. And once you get the right password and click login, it should log in to that user account right here. So let me see whether that lets us log in. There you go, it does. Okay, so let's now access our media from our PC. So let's go over to File Explorer here, open this up right here, and up the top, address bar here, what you're going to do is backslash, and then do your IP address, which is for your server. In this case, it's 192.168.1.215, and then backslash, and then the storage that you created, which we created a folder called storage. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we can sign in with our accounts. So let's go ahead and put Britec and our accounts, click save, and it's now going to open up on there. So if it doesn't open straight away, just refresh and it should come up like this. And now you can create folders inside here. Let's just say you want to upload some stuff to your server. You can just drag and drop straight into here, and then you can go ahead and do all of that. I'm not going to cover all the plugins and stuff like that in this video because that's obviously another video completely. If you want to put in stuff like Plex and things like that, you can do. And that's the beginner's guide on how to set up your NAS on your networks. Very simple and easy to do. And just for those people that like to critique everything I say or the way I say things or pronounce things, it's a NAS, network attached storage. I say NAS, I know I do, but who cares? It's just what it is. It's just the way you pronounce words. You do get these critiquers out there that think they're smarter than everyone else. But hey, you know, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and map our network drive now on our NAS and put our backslash 192.168.1.215 and a backslash storage because that's what we created. And that will now allow you to go ahead and put in whatever you want in here. Very simple and easy to do, and it should be visible in File Explorer right here. Anyway, it's been a bit of a long one, but people did request this one on how to set it up on something like that. It's very simple and easy to do. There's plenty of other options out there, whether you want Open Media Vault, whether you want Proxmox, or whether you want Unraid or truenas, or whatever it is you want to use. You can basically use any of those on your little server here that you've got if you purchase it. They're about £167 for the base model. It's worth doing because it's pretty affordable. It does get a bit hot, I must admit. I will do a thermal test on that. I'll do a short on that for you because I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But anyway, I think that's going to be about it. I hope everyone has a lovely weekend. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. If you haven't joined our Discord server yet, the link will be in the video description. Pop over there for a chat if you fancy a chat over the weekend. I'll be there. Anyway, I shall catch you in the very next video. Just before I go, I want to say a big shout out to all my YouTube members. Whether you're tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3, I do appreciate the support, and I shall catch you in the next one. Bye for now.